Welcome to Use Prompt Forge. Build smarter with AI.
So, isn't AI coming for your job? I mean, it's the question on everybody's mind, right? Today, we're going to dig into something called AI agents. This is a totally new kind of technology that's already starting to shake things up in the workforce. We're going to separate the hype from the reality and give you a real, practical guide to what's coming next. You know, this quote just absolutely nails a huge misconception about AI. If you think this whole revolution is just about smarter chatbots, you are missing the real story. The game changer isn't AI that can talk to you, it's AI that can act for you. Okay, so before we get to which jobs might be on the chopping block, we all need to be on the same page. What is an AI agent, and why is it so different from the AI you're probably used to playing around with? Let's think of it this way. A chatbot is kind of like a calculator. You punch in a problem, it spits out an answer. Simple. But an AI agent? That's more like a project manager. You give it a high-level goal, and it figures out the entire plan, all the steps from start to finish. It's not just answering your questions, it's making decisions and getting things done. And here's that key difference in action. A chatbot is reactive. You have to keep feeding it instructions, one after another. An agent, on the other hand, is proactive. You can give it a really broad, long-term goal, like, hey, keep an eye on all my competitors' pricing, and it will just run with it indefinitely. You don't have to micromanage it. And that right there is a massive leap in what this technology can do. All right, so with that in mind, let's get to the heart of it. Now that we know what these agents can do, which jobs are they actually starting to transform today? Let's look at a real-world example of how this works. Imagine you're a product manager. You could have an agent that every single Monday morning at 6 a.m. automatically scours your competitors' websites. It pulls all their new updates, figures out the key changes, and then drafts and drops a report right into your team's Slack, all before you've even had your first cup of coffee. That entire workflow, the whole thing, can be automated. So you start to see the pattern here, right? The common thread is that AI agents are getting really, really good at structured digital tasks, things that follow a predictable pattern. Answering common customer questions, drafting medical notes, screening resumes. And while these agents aren't replacing entire professions, they are starting to seriously shrink the need for those entry-level roles that mostly focus on these kinds of repetitive tasks. And the numbers, well, they're already starting to tell a pretty stark story. By mid-2025, job postings for software engineers in the US had plummeted by nearly half. Now look, that's not just because of AI, there are other factors. But it is a flashing sign that companies are realizing they can hit their roadmaps with smaller teams because AI agents are handling a lot of the routine coding work. So is it time to panic? Not so fast. While the potential of these agents is, frankly, enormous, there are some major roadblocks that are slowing down the whole robot revolution. Let's get real about where this tech is today. So, are we on the verge of a world just completely run by AI agents? The short answer is nope, not even close. And I'll tell you why. You know, the biggest problem with AI agents right now is that they're just not always reliable. They can hallucinate, which is a very polite way of saying they just make stuff up. And when you're dealing with sensitive customer data or, say, financial information, making things up is not exactly a feature you want in your software. And then there's the cost. You might look at the price of just running the AI model itself and think, wow, 30 cents for a workflow? That's incredibly cheap. And yeah, you'd be right. But that is not the whole story. Because here's the catch. The AI model is just the brain. To actually do anything useful, the agent has to use other tools, like pulling a credit report or running a background check. And guess what? Those tools are not free. So that innocent little 30-cent workflow can suddenly balloon into an $85 expense. That is a huge barrier for most companies. And hey, if you need any more proof that we're not in a sci-fi movie just yet, just look at this. Researchers tried to build an entire software company run by AI agents, and, well, it was a complete and total disaster. The agents just could not handle the complexity and nuance of real-world tasks. The potential is there for sure, but the reality is we're still a long way from fully autonomous AI. Okay, so where does all this leave us? Well, it gives us a pretty clear picture of both the opportunities and the challenges. So now let's talk about how you can position yourself to not just survive, but actually thrive in this new world of work. Now, here's the good news. While AI agents are automating some tasks, they're also creating entirely new, high paying jobs. We're seeing the rise of roles like an AI agent architect, the person who designs the blueprints for these new AI systems, or an agent ops manager, someone who makes sure all the agents are running smoothly. So, this isn't just about jobs disappearing, it's about jobs evolving. And as AI takes over the more repetitive, boring stuff, the skills that actually make us human become even more valuable. I'm talking about things like judgment, creativity, complex communication, strategic thinking. Those are all going to be in super high demand. Because at the end of the day, an AI agent can execute a plan, but it still needs a human to come up with the right plan in the first place. So, what can you actually do to prepare? It's pretty simple, but it's not easy. First, learn how to work with these tools. Start thinking of yourself as a manager of AI, not just a user. Second, look for ways to move up into more strategic roles in your field. And third, double down on the skills that AI just can't replicate: creativity, critical thinking, and, just being good with other people. And that really brings us to the most important question you can ask yourself right now. Is your job just a list of tasks to be checked off, or is it a set of complex problems that you have to solve? Because AI is getting really good at tasks, but it still needs us to figure out which problems are actually worth solving in the first place. And in the age of AI, believe me, the problem solvers are going to be the ones who win.
Thanks for watching Use Prompt Forge. Like, share, and subscribe.